Guys, welcome to the Eden Zero Chapter 142 breakdown discussion. As always, it is your boy Taz coming at you with these hard-hitting facts or just a chapter breakdown, whatever you would like to call it, for this one entitled Shiki versus Shura. Now, how I felt about this chapter overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was setting up for probably way more to come, as now this time around, we got to see Shura on the offensive and Shiki on the defensive. In the beginning, we basically see Eraser still in space dealing with Shura's forces, as he basically says he is starting to basically get exhausted. Like, this many does exhaust someone. Emphasis on the does. Like, I'm like, all right, well, how much of your ether are you using to keep wiping these people away? And while that's going on, he's notified that a civilian ship has kind of swept its way on in, a cutesy ship of sorts, but it's actually Goodwin and his crew. And I was kind of shocked at the fact that the ship looked like a really cute cat. And I'm like, yo, what do you expect from Goodwin? Like, he is a big fella. He is the boss big fella. He is a very towering, hulking, massive, intimidating figure, but he still has a soft side. But then we transition back over to Nero 66, where Shura and Shiki continue their battle. Oh, let me not forget, while Goodwin and the squad are actually going in, they are still worried about whether they'll be treated as friend or foe by the Union, because they're neither friend nor foe, but who knows which way that'll go. So let's wrap back in. Shura clues into the fact that we learned something new about Shiki, that how they use gravity differs in two, completely different ways. Like I was also saying in regards to their markings, I'm not sure if anybody actually has looked into this, or we may find more about this later down the line, but it doesn't seem to be that deep. I was just looking into it. Maybe, everybody's markings are different when they learn it, or the patterns interact differently with one's, genes and so on and so forth. But Shura lets us know that Shiki controls his own gravity as well. Shura, his gravity is that he moves objects and controls the gravity of other things, which is how he could stop the Eden ship in place, pick that other gentleman up and pretty much crush his head. RIP to the homie who will never get to see his daughter have her wedding. Sorry, I was about to say cross the stage. Have her wedding. And then he pulls a ship and missiles from underneath the planet and then launches them at Shiki. And I'm just like, yo, mans is ruthless. He's about this action, and we get to see more of how he fights compared to Shiki. Now, Shura claims he'll bury the Eden ship as well as Shiki on this planet, and that there's a treasure trove of all kinds of deaded ships and things underneath this planet at his disposal to basically just use and whip around. After landing a missile into Shiki that he basically just threw at him from the horde that he had actually pulled up from the ground, he started dismantling it, and by piece started having those layers fly off and attack Shiki, to then suddenly burst through and punch Shiki in a similar fashion to the way he had been done previously, like when we saw Shiki basically use his gravity to manipulate his force and basically lay that man's face in several times. And I was very pleased by this. But then Shiki states, oh, so you can change your gravity? And Shura says, I've never said I couldn't do that. So this does give us some insight into how gravity users work. Now, I just assumed that as a whole, gravity in itself, it meant, oh yeah, everything that is gravity, or the gravity of other objects, the gravity of self. I mean, we've seen Shiki make other people float, haven't we? Or is it just he made the gravity in his vicinity so light that everything around him started to float? Who knows? I'm not a physicist. I don't know much about gravity, but we can look into that maybe sometime later. So Shura's troops basically still are approaching the Eden ship as they prepare to engage. Laguna, Chris, and Clean go to meet them head on in the skies. Like, there's still a battle ongoing while they're still trying to sneak in to get to the All-In, guys. Let's not forget that. And then we find out down below that the other half of the crew, which is Happy, Pino, Wise, and Hamura and Rebecca, are trying to sneak in underneath. Now, Hamura feels kind of uneasy without Shiki, as we know, like the big three in this situation are always Hamura, Shiki, and Wise, especially now that he's got the arsenal, armor and everything like that. So those are the big three here. Now we will see some power-ups from everybody else eventually in the future. We know there will be, but hey, it is what it is for the time being. So as she says that, we kind of get this funny moment where my guy Moskoy is cosplaying Shiki, and he has everybody kind of sitting there with like the crickets, kind of just kind of speechless. And he even says, "Hey, let's be Moss friends." I'm like, bro, that's why Moscow is that dude. I don't know if any of y'all are sleeping on my mans, but yo, mans is the guy. Moscow is that guy. Mark my words. I'm telling you, folks. The day he presses that button, I know it's gonna be something spectacular. Like, it's gonna be some transformation that transcends the mind, or he just becomes stupidly OP and busted. I'm hoping for the latter. I just hope that it's like this whole, uh, Power Rangers like transformation, but it's like his body, because he's a machine. So like he looks really cool, or he gets a more non heavy set man build. Like he turns into this Fabio pretty boy type of character that fits my man's personality. So after that's said and done, and we're just looking like, what is all this? Wise was still kind of taken back by Hamura's statement, like, what's that supposed to mean? I'm strong. But we get back to Shiki and Shura as they're still throwing hands. Now this time, I mind you, they're throwing hands on top of a missile, and neither is letting up. And Shiki's basically demanding Shura to take off the all link, or turn off the all link. My apologies. He wants him to turn off the all link, and he tells Shiki, we don't need robots to begin with. Like, there's no need for them. And then he starts manipulating the wires inside of the missile to tie Shiki up. Now this was when I had that aha moment. Like, I was wondering why Zeno was trying to teach them, how to use their ether gear when being bound. Now, he did also explain that it's a lot of people can't do it and it's a weakness, but I was like, is it really the true weakness to ether gear users? Like, you just need to bind them up and they will be useless. Now, in regards to somebody like Laguna, his can turn him into water, so I don't think it works so well on him. Like, it might be a little bit of a hindrance, but I don't see it being that big of a I can basically whip out of here and turn into water. I can just get out of these binds. But somebody who's more physical, or manipulates something that isn't such a tangible fluid like substance, it may be a little bit different, or an enhancer, or somebody like Rebecca, but hers is her feet. So who knows, but it kind of makes sense. And while that's happening, Shura's like, oh, you can't use your powers. And then that's when Shiki begins to basically prove him wrong. He uses a center of gravity that crushes just about everything, but then you see this energetically enthusiastic face on Shura. Like, he's like, yo, he never knew there could be anybody this awesome. And then that's when he tells Shiki to be his friend. Now guys, this could take us down so many different rabbit holes, but what I do see is Shiki denying this, or talk no jutsu into the fact that he may say something, well, like, if we want to be friends, or trying to put a stipulation on his friendship, or ultimately saying, if you were to be a true friend, this is what you would or would not be doing. I can't be friends with somebody who would want to kill innocents, which Shura has. So guys, I thank you for making it this far in the video. I appreciate you as always. Leave a comment, like the video, it helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. Go ahead and subscribe for the boy for the one time. And I will catch y'all for the next video, man. As always, y'all be good, be blessed, talk nice to everybody and yourselves. Peace.